It was 1998. I was 37 years old, and I had been working with the forest department for 12 years. There was a fire in the Apalachicola National Forest that summer. The Bradwell Bay area was on fire when all this happened, and the fire was raging pretty bad at this point. We didn't know if we were ever going to get it out. That morning, I had reported to the command center on Helen Guard Station Road to get briefed on what I would be doing that day. Another ranger and myself were given the task of driving around looking for animals along the road. Now, when there's a big fire, animals leave the woods and sometimes they make it to the road, where they usually fall out if they were injured or had real bad smoke inhalation, and our job was to pick them up and take them to the command center where vets could treat them and, unfortunately, on some occasions, euthanize the ones that couldn't make it. So we were driving around the area heading south, doing about 45 miles an hour, much faster than I should have been driving. And I was looking over to my partner and talking to him, and I didn't even realize how fast I was going. And all of a sudden we saw this black creature run out of the woods on all fours. It ran right up under my driver's side tire. Now, I hit the animal with both the front and rear tires of the truck, and by the way, I was driving a 95 Dodge Ram 4x4, so I knew at that speed I must have killed it. Now, immediately we thought it was a bear, and we got out to pick the bear up and put it in the truck and see if we could help it. But when we got out of the truck, we realized that what I had hit was not a bear at all. It was a creature that neither one of us had ever seen before. It was about 6 feet tall. It had backwards facing legs like a dog. Its arms hung down about to where its knees would be. And one arm, as a matter of fact, was down by one knee and the other arm was up over its head. I had run across the creature and right over its underarm, across its shoulder blades, and right over the back of its neck. Now, the creature was covered in short black hair, about 3 to 5 inches long on the arms, legs, and head, and the hair on the back, ribs, and chest was much shorter. The muscle definition on this animal was phenomenal. It looked like a prize fighter, one of those guys you see in the UFC. When we flipped the animal over, its jaw was badly broken from where I had hit it with the truck, but I could see it had a protruding snout like that of a baboon, or what you think a werewolf would look like. And it had eyes. It had eyes like us. And the thing almost looked like a chimpanzee. So we quickly radioed into the command center, and they sent 2 FWC officials out to our location. They arrived within about 15 minutes, and when they got there, they had told us that they had never seen anything like this. We all just kind of stood and stared at the creature. Nobody said a word. Eventually, when we got our wits about us, one of the officials told us to pick up the creature and put it in the back of the truck and take it back to the command center so we could fill out a report on what we saw. It took 4 of us to even lift this animal. It must have been 300 or 400 pounds of dead weight, and between the weight of the creature and the smoke in the air, we we barely got it back into the truck. But after we did, we headed back to the command center to fill out a statement on what we saw. So we showed up back at the command center, and immediately we were brought back into a room in the back of the building where we were told to fill out an incident report. We were about 10 minutes into the incident report when we were asked to stop and wait, and that there were some people coming to see us. Now, within about 30 to 45 minutes, 2 government officials showed up. They walked us out to the truck, and they were asking to show them where we had hit the animal with the truck, and they examined it. Now, luckily, the truck had no damage. There was one of those black steel bumpers out in the front, and the animal hit the bottom of that, and so the tires took care of the rest. And there was really nothing on the truck except for on the undercarriage. There was some blood and some hair, and they took it. They took samples and they put them away. Next, they asked us if we would get into the vehicle that they came in and take them out to the location, the exact location where we hit the creature. So we complied, and we got into the vehicle and left with the 2 gentlemen. It was a rather quiet ride back out to the spot. They didn't really say much at all except for a couple exchanges to each other, mostly just whispers. So we showed up at the spot, and we got out of the car and we walked through what happened, and all of a sudden, one of the guys, I guess the guy in charge, turned and looked at us and said, "Congratulations, fellas, you ran over a bear." I said, "No, sir. This was no bear that we hit." He quickly interrupted me. "You don't understand. You ran over a bear." He then said that every time I tell anybody about this, I ran over a bear. I was never to speak a word about it or about what I actually hit. And if I did, I could face charges. My whole retirement could vanish. They said I could lose my job and they would slander me and make me look like a fool. So I looked at my partner, and I guess we had no other choice but to comply. On the ride back, it kind of struck me as odd that this was an actual government cover-up. They had seen them before, and now they were in possession of a body. For some reason, they didn't want anyone to know, and they were going to great lengths to keep this under wraps. The main reason I'm telling this story is I'm hoping one of the other 3 people, my partner and the 2 FWC officials, will come forward. I figure it's a lot harder to silence 4 people than it is to just silence 1. People need to know that these things are out there, and people need to know that they are real. Do you think that the government is covering up the existence of Dogman? Do me a favor. Drop a comment below with your theory of, number 1, do you believe that the government is covering up the existence of Dogman? And number 2, why? I guess the reason would be if there are werewolves running around in the woods, we have a pretty big problem on our hands, guys, and maybe they just don't want to deal with it. Maybe all the people that go missing in our national parks are the victims. of these creatures? I want to hear your point of view. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to be doing a video like this every week. We're going to be doing guest interviews telling their encounters and urban exploration with a paranormal twist. My name is Danny. Stay well, stay safe, and stay on the watch.